everyone. Thanks for tuning in to our podcast, In the Woods, with your hosts, Mary Woods.
And Deborah Woods.
And clearly you can see we're in the woods. So
here we are.
We have a great episode coming up for you. Make sure you subscribe and like us.
And also, if you'd like to find out more about our work, you can visit us at our website, miraclesmadecoaching.com.
Drop a comment or anything and reach out. We would love to hear from you.
Enjoy the episode.
It's a delight to meet you.
All right. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to our podcast, In the Woods. And we are your hosts. I'm Deborah.
And I'm Mary.
And we are the Miracle Made Coaches. And we have today a special guest who
a very
tell
special
us
guest. Yes, thank you, Michelle Gams, for being with us today.
Hello.
I just want to tell a little bit about who you are. Michelle is a parent coach and psychotherapist with a degree from the University of Notre Dame. She has been coaching parents for over 20 years, lots and lots of experience, teaching them to give themselves permission to be faulty and not too perfect while still bringing peace to their homes. She has been parenting her own two children, Grace and Charlie, who have given her a wealth of experience. And during Michelle's most desperate stages of parenting, she has been made known to post this on her bathroom mirror. I never said it would be easy. I only said it would be worth it. So let's just jump right into it with that quote right there, because we have people listening right now who are thinking, maybe it's not worth it, or maybe it is, but I am not there like you are right now. So just give me a little somewhere to go from here now with that. So
Right. Okay. Well, thank you. Thanks for having me. And yes, jumping in, it is a humbling job. So it's not to be taken lightly. Like if you, it isn't, it's a serious, we have a lot of power as parents. So it's a big deal. And so it is a difficult job, and it's immensely rewarding. You will come to face yourself so much and grow so much and get outside of yourself for maybe the first time in your life.
Yeah. So if we have parents that feel like they're bad parents, how can we tell them you're not a bad parent, even though sometimes we do things that are not so great, Yeah. How can we, shift that and help them with that?
Okay. Well, first of all, like turning on ourselves like a spiral of shame is not productive. Like mistakes are part of learning. And so we just learn. And if we're not learning, then we'll just keep repeating the same mistakes. So you're going to keep getting the same opportunities. And what I have found through the years is when we know better, we do better. So if you find yourself like in the same loop, then you might want to learn something, because you can interrupt that loop and not keep doing the same thing. The definition of insanity, doing the same thing, expecting different results.
Right.
And so when we know better, we do better. And then people feel like more peace, and they didn't know mornings could be peaceful or evenings could be peaceful, bedtime could be peaceful when they learn something. So, and that goes for me too. I had to learn, and I was a school counselor of 600 4 to 7-year-olds when I took this class, Redirecting Children's Behavior. And I thought, I'm not going to learn anything. My husband wanted us to take it. We were both firstborns, thinking we knew what we were doing. Okay, we didn't. And I was so humbled learning. Like, I was like, oh, I need to take this with me from Texas to Indiana. And I've been ever since, because I learned so much, and I have my master's degree in counseling. So we all can learn, all of us, no matter who we are.
Yeah, definitely.
So I think if people are looking to learn something, they could pick up your book.
Yes.
Which is simple. It's a simple book. You talk about it.
So stay away from option D and you will be a perfect parent. So I read the book. I didn't read every chapter, but I read a lot of the different excerpts of the different times of the day and the philosophy. And I think two of the things that struck me and I appreciated the most was its simplicity and the grace that you offer to parents and the freedom that can come from that grace. And then the other part, which my teacher self, I got my Post-its in my book. The other part is thinking about keep first things first. So not trying to just transform your entire life through this book or through whatever it is that you learn.
Yeah.
But really starting with what's the 1 or 2 things that are bringing the most stress into your
Yeah.
life, and starting there. So I really appreciated that.
Yeah, because we have limited resources of time, energy, money, any of it. Every person, I don't care who you are, we have limited resources. And so it's focused, giving your energy toward that which is causing you the most stress or strife, feel relief from that, and then move down the list. But you can't do it all. You need to just focus, and then you feel peace from that, and then you have more energy to focus on the next thing.
Yeah.
Yes, you go, definitely. When parents come in and they're like, where do I start? I'm like, how about if we just start with the 1 or 2 things that are causing you the most stress or strife, and we're going to address those, and we're going to set you up to be successful with those, because otherwise I'm not setting you up to be successful if I just address all the things.
Yeah. No,
Yeah.
that's, yeah. And when you said you can't do it all, that just reminds me, we try to be superheroes as parents, and we have to start somewhere and then work our way. So yeah. Great. Yeah.
Yeah.
So can you talk to us a little bit about the 4 options?
Yeah. So it's a very simple concept. The stay away from option D concept, like template. It's, it's a cute little picture of like 4 faces that if you think of the first one is the 10 out of 10, the A option is the 10 out of 10 best case scenario, textbook, ideal version. And if you can do that, great. If you have the time, resources, wherewithal, knowledge, do A. But most parents, we don't even know what the A's are. We have to learn them. We have to learn the A's to have any hope of sometimes implementing them. Even if you have it in your head, and I can vouch for that, I have it all uploaded in my head. That doesn't mean I'm doing it all the time. But first, you have to have the ideas uploaded to have any hope that maybe you'll implement it in those moments. So we have to learn what the A's are. So this simple concept, I said the book is full of 16 chapters of what the A's are. If you want to learn what the A's are, that's what the book is. And I told the editor when we were doing it, I said, I want parents to understand this simple concept, and then they can just stop reading and carry the concept with them. She goes, no, you can't say that. And I go, okay, well then just say that they can keep reading if they want to know what the A's are. Like you can learn what the A's are, and you can pick and choose like you did, which is like which ones apply to me, and I'm going to read those chapters, because you can use it like a resource. So A is that's what the book is, what the A's are. B is the good enough option. Good enough is the 5 out of 10, 6 out of 10, 7 out of 10, given the time, resources, patience, sleep, illness, kid that I have over here crying. Like it's the good enough. And we live in good enough parenting often. And it's, we have to give ourselves, that's the permission, good enough.
Yeah.
C is do no harm. C is shut the hell up and walk away. Do no harm. Because each of you, beautiful ladies, sisters, are 100% responsible for what you say and what you do. I am 100% responsible for what I say and what I do. And so that's not often owned in our culture. It's often, well, if you yell at me, I get to yell back at you. You hit me, I can hit you back. I'm like, that's not how it works here with my work. It's you yell at me, that's on you. If I yell back at you, that's on me.
Yeah.
You hit me, that's on you, man. If I hit you back, that's on me. And so that's what C is owning that if I'm going to lose it, I have to take myself out stage left, man, and calm myself down so that I don't do D, which is harm.
Right.
D is spanking, yelling, shaming, humiliating, all of that is D, and it is harming your child.
Yes. Yes, it is.
So then A through C are all great parenting, and it gives you permission to be real and to be a real parent and human, because parents go to bed thinking if I didn't do A, then I'm a terrible parent and I suck, and it's like, no, A, B, and C are all rock star.
They're all acceptable. Yeah.
Totally. And I think that's so important. Yeah. I mean, the permission for B, I think is so important, because as a perfectionist, I was a perfectionist as a student, perfectionist as a teacher, right? Like I try to be perfect in everything that I do. But we talk a lot, Mary and I talk a lot about mindset and the the strength of having a growth mindset and knowing that, like, even if you don't get an A, that there's something to be learned there. It's actually a good thing when that happens. So you could either beat yourself up about the fact that you didn't do the A, or you can give yourself permission to be human,
right,
and learn something from it,
and teach your child.
Yeah.
Teach your child that you're not perfect either. Well, none of us are perfect here.
Right.
So it makes sense that we're not all going to be A's. It kind of reminds me when you speak about the best you can do, right? You can't the best is not always going to be A.
No.
Right. So that's not realistic to teach them that. So I loved when you were talking about that, that the best we could do might be a C sometimes.
That's right.
So let's be honest about that, right? Yeah.
Exactly. I have people walk in here quite a bit that say, Michelle, I didn't do D. I did arms up, like I didn't do D.
Right.
And I'm like, yes.
Sure.
Yeah, that's the best. And it really is. It is, because we're just trying to stay away from harming, period.
Right. So what do we do for those parents who were raised that way? They were harmed. They don't know any better. They don't know what else to do. They're harming.
They were raised on option D, and now they're
the cycle is continuing.
They're utilizing option D as the go-to.
Yeah.
I just met a dad last week like that here, and he's required anyway. It's sort of a like a court thing, and so I said, when he sat down, he's like, well, I'm here to be a vet because I really want to have this relationship with my son, and he's not allowed to till he like improves his parenting because he's doing D. And I just, before we even started, I said, how much do you know about me? He's like, not very much. And I go, well, dude, I think I'm going to rub you the wrong way. I'm just flat out telling you right now, because I'm going to tell you, you're not allowed to do that. And by the end, he was like, when can I come back? Like, seriously, because people do that because they don't know what else to do. Every time, all these 20 years, when at first session of teaching redirecting children's behavior, I ask at the end, anybody here like spanking? Raise your hand. Nobody has ever raised their hand.
Right.
I said, okay, spank. People do that because they're out of ideas. And I ask that you consider it one of your tools of parenting and set it aside while I teach you other tools. And if you feel later that you need to put that back into your toolbox, that's your decision over there. But if you set it aside, I'm going to give you lots of other effective tools. So you're not going to need that. And by the way, the biggest issue with it is you are an entire hypocrite. Harm and physical harm, spanking, any of that, like what you're talking about, we are hypocrites if we do that. Because you don't get to hit your child and then expect them not to hit their sibling, not hit the dog, not hit friends. Right. You can't do that, because whatever you're modeling is what you're saying is okay. That's how it's one of my favorite quotes about parenting. Who you are speaks so loudly, I can't hear anything that you're saying. Who you are speaks so loudly, I can't hear anything that you're saying. So it doesn't matter what you're telling me. As the child, I am watching what you're doing. You can't tell me, don't smoke growing up, and I'm sitting here smoking. Don't hit. You can't tell me that, because I'm watching you, man.
It's true. But it happens so much, though.
Yeah.
It happens so often.
Yeah. So there's a lot of different parenting styles out there. There's peaceful parenting, gentle parenting, and there's just a lot of different parenting styles. Authoritative parenting, all of these different styles.
Yes.
So what would you say if you have a particular style? Do you lean towards a particular parenting style? And
okay,
a little bit more.
So Deborah, first of all, like, it took me years to answer what is this about? Like, what is this that you teach? Help me understand what this whole 15-hour course is that I teach and stuff, redirecting children's behavior. I was tongue-tied. I'm like, I don't even know where to start. It's 15 hours. Like, where do I start? And it took me years, but I got it. Here's my elevator speech. Everything that I teach is about being firm and kind. That's everything I teach.
Yeah.
And so if you come, and this is what I was telling that dad this week. I tell parents when I start out, I'm like, here's the deal. If you come from a firm persuasion, which is autocratic, if you're coming from a firm persuasion and I'm moving you toward this middle space of firm and kind, you are going to feel like I'm a pushover. If you come from a kind persuasion and I'm moving you toward this middle space of firm and kind, you are going to feel like that lady is a bitch. Just know everything that I teach is in this middle space of firm and kind, despite how it feels for you, because any movement on that continuum from where you are is going to feel like that. It's going to feel like, oh, now I'm a pushover and I was really strict, or now I was really strict and now, God, I'm just too easy as a parent. No, so that's what I was telling. I'm like, even though it might sound like your reception of what I'm saying is going to feel like that, know that everything that I teach holds this middle space of firm and kind. And I can't wait to be a grandparent because I just get to be kind. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah. And I appreciate you I'm in your book somewhere you did talk about that. And you talked about how a lot of times one of the parents will be firm and one of the parents will be kind, but it's really important if you are a 2-parent household that both parents are both firm and kind.
That's right. Yeah, because it puts a wedge between the parents. It creates. I've had people say it's the best marriage counseling they've ever had, taking a parenting course. This parent, because they're working now on a third platform to implement, and they're bonded together, and instead of at each other of their ideas and this idea, and they only know what was done with them. Instead of we actually learned this a third option, and we're implementing that. We're supporting each other.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
So is there a difference between the firm and kind and gentle parenting? Is it a little bit, or is that pretty much what the gentle parenting is?
Well, I don't know. How do you all define gentle parenting? Because I know firm and kind is typically positive parenting and positive discipline, but how is gentle parenting defined? Because people might think that's the too kind version. I don't know.
Not as much firmness. I haven't seen it so much with that word, maybe, but maybe the actions are, similar. So I wasn't sure really.
Oh yeah. I don't know. I'm not sure like what the out there it's all about, like what those definitions are.
Right. But those are the actions that we need to.
Absolutely. Yeah. And like I said, like it's not about not loving your kids. Like you're going to love them, but they need more. They don't need friends. They get 2 shots at a parent and you got to be it. And it takes firmness.
That is so true.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah. That is so
true. We're not here to be their friend.
Yeah. So your children are kind of grown up. You're getting into adult children phase. So you've been through all the stages. So would you say that there is a stage in which it's potentially the most difficult to employ options A through C to stay away from option D?
No, I don't think. Well, yeah, I'll tell you which one is the hardest, but I don't know. It's still the same as staying away from. Well, okay, so when people hear about me and they're like, okay, my friend's having a baby, I'm going to send her to you. I go, no, she doesn't need me. She doesn't need me until two, when the child talks. Before that, you're just caretaking. You're loving and caretaking, and it's humbling and it's very physical and you're exhausted. But that is not parenting. To me, that's not parenting. Parenting begins when the child begins to speak, because you have to raise your game with how you're handling that child. Then this isn't just about caretaking anymore. And so from 2 to 12, we got a window, y'all, as parents. We have a window to do the best dang job you can of implementing as much as you can into that window. Because guess what? After 12, 13, you get demoted and peers get promoted. And your window closes. That does not mean it's closed. It just gets smaller. And so they don't want to hear it from you anymore. Their peers are their authorities. And so you are secondary. You're still important, but you're secondary. And so that is, the teen years are a whole different beast. And it is humbling. It's a whole different beast. And I used to have clients that would say, hey, I want you to see my kid. And I'm like, no, thanks. No can do. Like, can't see teenagers until I didn't know. I'm like, I haven't had teenagers. I'm not seeing a teenager. So then until I got through having my own, and now I'm like, bring it on. I got a lot of teenagers in my practice and parents of teen, and I'll meet with teens and parents because I can speak to the parent and I can speak to the teen.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's like I can speak both ways. I'm not,
Right.
and that's kind of useful, but that's a whole nother, like I literally give speeches on Teenagers 101 because it's like having an alien and it's a whole different thing.
Mm-hmm.
It's a whole different thing, especially in our culture where every parent is breathless with the teen because they're experimenting and exploring, which is normal. One of the needs to experiment and explore. The little kid going to check out everything at Target, going to check out the puddle, going to check out the sticks, going to check out anything. And then they become teens, and experimenting and exploring is still normal, except it can change their lives forever.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Right.
And so every parent is breathless, and then they're trying to clamp down. And I'm like, that's not going to work. That's not going to work. It still has to. And so they just need some information about how to handle teens. So I think to me, teens is the most breathless and difficult for parents because they're terrified.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So maybe we could leave our listeners with an action step, right? To see where they are, even if they're at C, maybe something to move them to B. If they're at B, move them to A.
Sure.
What do you think is one thing we can say to our listeners, parents?
So the first thing I would say is to keep yourself out of D, what's required, your nervous system, you have to pause. You have to pause to do C. And if you're going to move from B to A, you're going to need to pause to access what you have in your Rolodex of your head of ideas to implement the A. You have to pause to do that. And if you are only reactive parenting, just constantly just reacting in crisis, you're not going to get there.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
So it has to be more of a proactive pause. Let me think about this. And when you think, you're responding and you're not reacting. Responses have thought, reactions have none. And they're the things when we lay down our head at night that we regret, and then we feel like we're a terrible parent because it's reactions. It's
Right.
And I think that's
Right.
so important because a lot of times as parents, you feel like you're supposed to know what to do instantly, right? Like you're supposed to know how to respond immediately, or what to say when the kid says this or asks this or whatever. But it's actually okay. And it's actually modeling something really good for your kids,
Right.
for you to say, I need to like pause and think about this and think about how I'm going to respond or whatever.
So good. Yes, it is. It's modeling because you're showing them, I need to think about it, and that's helpful, and that you don't have all the answers, and it's good for you. I mean, we don't, unless it's safety, you don't need to answer them right away unless it's about safety.
Yeah.
You don't.
Mm-hmm.
You don't, but we you're right. We do feel pressure. Deborah, we feel pressure that we need to. You don't though. When I was in grad school, I had this professor, he said, I tell my kids I have yes, no's, and maybes. And if you push me on the maybe because I need to think about it, then it's a no.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Because we need to think. We don't have all these. You've never been in all this, You've never been in all these ages and all these genders with the kids, and we don't know.
Yeah. Wow.
Oh, well, thank you.
Thank you so much, Michelle. Thank you.
You two are lovely.
Oh, thank you.
It's true.
So if people want to get in touch with you, if anybody wants to get in touch with you, how should they contact you?
Sure. My email, which is my name, michellegams@gmail.com.
All right.
Okay.
michellegams@gmail.com.
michellegams@gmail.com. Thank you so much for being with us.
And if you want to find out a little bit more about us, you can visit our website at miraclesmadecoaching.com. So thanks for tuning in. And thank you for being with us, Michelle. And have a great day.
Bye.
Bye.